Welcome back to the Race Hour Cheltenham Preview 2022. And have you been enjoying the first 3 days? Yay! That's the biggest cheer we've ever got. People are deprived. They haven't been out in years. David Mullins started a wholesale gamble on a horse in the Cheltenham bumper. What's his name again, David? Viva
DeVito.
Like
DeVito.
song.
Was 250 to 1, then 100 to 1, then 80 to 1, then 66 to 1, and I think he's only 40 to 1 now. 25 now. So Chris Jones, who's in the audience, is winning the Grand Annual, potentially the Ultima maybe. No, the Grand Annual.
No.
Curse of Blame.
No.
I'll go for Grand Annual. The son will get his way. He's having a treble. He's having a treble. He's winning the bumper now as well, and Ben Dundee is winning the Ultimate. So there you go. Moving on to day 4, and we'll kick off with the Triumph Hurdle. And currently with FansBet, Vauban is your 7-4 favourite. Pied Piper is 2-1. The two of those obviously clashed on New Year's Eve at Punchestown. 5-1 Fildor, 10-1 Porticello, and Night Salute, 12-1 Car Allen. Dr. Parnassus is 12-1. Elete Tom is 12-1, and it's 16-1 Bar. Right, Dan, Vauban is currently your 7-4 favourite. It looks like an Irish benefit, so I know FansBet has an Irish benefit offer.
Yeah, indeed. Well, a lot fancy the Irish to be the best and far superior to the British, and I probably think that is correct. So if you fancy the Irish to finish 1, 2, and 3, it's going to be 3-1, which I think, looking at the market now, is very, very fair.
Right, give us your 1, 2, 3 then.
I'd say Vauban wins. I think unless this turns into a real slog, I think he's just got too many gears. I think the vibes are very, very strong about him. Spring Juvenile form is very, very strong. I'd have Ilete Tom, I think, comes second here. I thought that was the best debut by Juvenile all season. He was very novice early on in that Spring Juvenile, wasn't fancied, jumped big, jumped slow at the first few, then powered home. The only thing to come from off the pace at all, couldn't even be pulled up, it seemed. He was going forever after the line. I think he'll come second, and I think Fildor is probably still like the benchmark you can set your watch by. I think he will come third.
Okay, interesting. This Elete Tom, boys, Gary O'Brien and Ruby Walsh at the preview night in Barberstown Castle last Friday night both put this horse up as their charity bet in the Triumph Hurdle. Elete Tom. David, do you know much about him?
No.
Do you know much about the favourite Vauban?
Yeah.
And would you like to tell us?
Townend loves him anyway, and hasn't shut up talking about him since about September or October, so.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That's all we need to know, David. That is all we need to know. Vauban wins the Triumph Hurdle. Mikey?
Yeah, much like David, Paul rides him out a bit at home himself, so that's usually a good sign. And look at he's obviously very good, but so is Pied Piper. So I might just give Pied Piper the nod because maybe I just think Gordon has a better record with juveniles than Willie. So on that grounds and course form, I'll give him. I was in Newmarket today; he was sold as well, and just purely for
sentimental reasons.
Sentimental reasons, yeah.
Willie Mullins is 2 from 56 with his juveniles at the Cheltenham Festival, right? So Burning Victory is obviously he should only get half a point for Burning Victory. Can you name me the other one that he won the Triumph Hurdle with?
Scolarity.
Very good, Mikey. I wasn't expecting you to get that.
It's on the plaque
and on the barons.
Oh,
so sorry. It's not from knowledge.
Scolarity is right. David Casey wrote it, I think, did he?
Charlie Swan.
Oh, it was Charlie Swan, yeah. Was on the plaque as well.
No.
So you think you're just about siding with Pied Piper?
Yeah. I just think Davy Russell's going to get Friday going there.
Get Friday going with Pied Piper. Don, on the market here, 7-4 Vauban, 2-1 Pied Piper. Then there's a bit of a stretch out to Fildor 5-1. Do you think it's a 2-horse race?
No, I don't, David. I think it's a hell of a Triumph Hurdle, really. There's so many different lines of form. Like Pied Piper beat Vauban by a half a length when Vauban missed the last, and then Pied Piper went and won the Finesse Hurdle by 9 lengths or something doing handsprings. And you kind of thought Vauban was short then for the Spring Hurdle on the back of Pied Piper's run at Cheltenham, but then he was weak in the market just beforehand, and he did well to win because he was very keen and free through the early stages of the race, but he quickened up. And you know that side camera at Leopardstown when they come around the home turn, he really, it just showed how much he was quickening. So it was a really impressive performance. So you can see why he's short. But yeah, Ilete Tom, I thought that was a hell of a run by him in that race. As Dan was saying there, he was like, that was It was his first run for Willie Mullins, his first run in Ireland, his first run over 2 miles. His 2 bumpers in France were over 1.5 miles. And he hadn't run since May, so you can understand that he would have been fresh and keen. He made a mess of the first flight and was big at the second. He did warm to his task, but the way that he finished off his race to take third. Now, he was beaten 6 lengths by Vauban and 3 lengths by Field d'Or, but it was still a hell of a run for a debutant. And
Can he turn around that form?
I think there's every chance he can.
Really?
6 lengths for a debutant running over 2 miles on his first run since May, when Vauban and Pied Piper and Field d'Or all had runs. Yeah, I think there's every chance he shouldn't be a 14-1 shot against him, I think. Given that Vauban is what's he? 2-1? 7-4?
7-4, yeah.
I don't think he should be 14-1. And Cara Allen, I thought another winning Mullins juvenile, I thought he was out of the time hurdle picture after that spring hurdle, but his run the last day was good in the winning fair hurdle in the grade 3 race. He's back in the picture now, I think. But it's a hell of a race, and that spring juvenile hurdle, it's a very good pointer to the triumph, and it's not just the winners who go on and win it, like the beaten horses as well. They can come forward in reverse place.
Yeah, Farclay, I think, was beaten.
Farclay did it.
Mr. Adjudicator, and they were 1 and 2. Yeah. So you're a big Elete Tom fan as well.
Well, I think he's overpriced. Yeah.
So Ruby Walsh, Gary O'Brien, and Donn McClean.
Don't put me in that category now.
3, Don, you're up there. You're up there, Don. 3 serious judges fancy Elete Tom. Are you going to make it 4, Diarmuid?
No. I've been on Pied Piper for quite a while. Put it on the podcast a few weeks ago. And I just thought that first run was, obviously, Davy Russell cut the nose off Paul Townend that day. I still think, just the way Gordon Elliott spoke afterwards, that Gordon Elliott was shocked that the horse had won. You know, he said the horse hadn't been away. He said the horse hadn't done as much work as he would have liked. And the two of them stepped massively forward from that run. I think recency bias has us. Obviously, Vauban was excellent, but I just thought Pied Piper had really put it all together at Cheltenham. I get the angle that Vauban can improve again, and the way Willie Mullins spoke the last day, that it wasn't just a triumph hurdle that's on his mind with this horse.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was the line that caught me. The way he said that, there's a lot more than triumph hurdles on his mind with this horse.
He didn't want to go for the triumph, really.
Yeah, so that kind of just made me think that, so this horse could be a champion hurdle horse or something like that in the future. So
I think he thought that he was a supreme horse for next year, and he was going to mind him until next year maybe. But it's interesting that he is going to show up in the triumph.
Yeah, so that is huge, but I just think Pied Piper has done this over the course and distance. He's a real class act. That performance to do that off the back of not having as much work done as Gordon Elliott would have liked. I am biased because I am on him at bigger prices, but at 2
how big?
It was 14s, wasn't it?
Whoa.
Yeah, so it was that. It was after that debut. But he's, I think he's going to be hard to stop.
Lovely stuff. Very best of luck with your 14-1. Dean, are you a Pied Piper man or a Vauban man?
I think Vauban's pretty solid. I was very impressed at the Dublin Racing Festival, and I wasn't that actually keen on him for that race. I think you remember we did the DRF preview, obviously, for the race hour on FansBet, and
we did. It was very good, wasn't it?
You enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Very good, yeah.
And I think I came up with an absolutely terrible line about Paul Townend with more switches than a fuse box.
Yeah.
On Vauban behind Pied Piper.
Very impressive.
But Vauban when improved actually that he stepped forward a lot. Pied Piper. There's a touch of the Arconnas about Pied Piper and what he did at Cheltenham. It's got to light up your eyes. But Vauban missed a few flights at DRF, I thought, and could definitely jump better than that. I think he'll improve. I think he's the one to beat in a very good race. There's every chance that Dr. Parnassus is good, Elete Tomp is good, Night Salute obviously is good, Porticello can step forward. This is a hot race. I don't think any price around 7-4 Vauban's going to really entice me in, but I think he's the most solid one. I'd have him over Pied Piper, but it's a marginal call, and this is a very hot race.
Because the way Patrick always says, I'll go for a cup of tea during the Triumph Hurdle, but this year it's a proper race.
It is.
You can see some of these running a champion hurdle next year.
Yeah.
That is your Triumph Hurdle. It's going to be a corker. It's the first race on day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival on Friday.